Hey, what's up everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Queen Sugar Season 3, Episode 4, and the name of this episode is No Haven in My Shadow. This was a really good episode, and Davis is going to be my thumbnail for this video review, and I'm going to explain why, because Davis, I am coming for you. So let's begin. First, I'm going to talk about Ralph Angel. We saw from the last episode, Darla has finally reappeared. And her and Ralph Angel sit down and they're discussing, pretty much Blue. And we can see that you can literally cut the tension with a knife. You can see it all on Ralph Angel's face. He is so not here for her being there, or the fact that she just showed up. But she lets him know, I tried to call you, but you would never talk to me. So I had to show up, and she says that, look, if Blue is in St. Joe's, I'm at St. Joe's. And I'm going to be a part of my son's life, and, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this work between us. So we also find out that Blue's going on this field trip, which he's been telling Darla about. So obviously Blue wants Darla to go on this field trip, but Ralph Angel has already talked to the teacher, and he already said that he was going to be the chaperone. So they kind of go back and forth or whatever, and pretty much, Darla's like, look, I should not have to ask permission to spend time with my son, our son. I'm his mother, you're his father. We have to be there for him. That hasn't changed. And she says that, that hasn't changed. And Ralph Angel told her the truth. Everything has changed. Now, I can say he even notices that Darla's different, because he even notices that her hair is different, and he said that it looks good on her. So he's noticing that he's getting a different Darla. He's seen that Darla went away to get herself together, but she never had the intention of staying away. She's going to come back and actually be a mother to her child. But then again, Darla, you must not forget what you have done and how you have literally shaken up their lives, because Darla was upset when she found out that Blue's been wetting the bed, and he's been doing it since she left. And she was like, why didn't you tell me? And he said that, look, he's embarrassed about it. He didn't want anybody to know. And she's like, yeah, but that's still something I should have been alerted. You should have told me about this. So we see that, yeah, she does love her son. But Darla, you can, it's great that you have, got yourself together. But that still does not, erase the fact that you have put them through a lot. Not just Ralph Angel, but also Blue. And that the Bordelon family has been there holding them down. And also, Ralph Angel just found out that Blue's not his biological child. So he's wrestling with that as well. But it was good to kind of see them, come together. And we also get a scene, where Blue is talking, asking about Grandma Trudy. And he's asking questions to Ralph Angel and Nova, because, Trudy was their mother. And he was, asking about, because what they decided to do is that Blue's birthday is approaching. And instead of Blue having a birthday party, they're going to have a bonfire, which is like a commencement celebration of Ernest's life. And they get the right letters where they can burn and they can be sent to heaven, which I think is a phenomenal idea. And the reason is because you remember in season 1 when Blue had his birthday party, that's when Ernest had his stroke. So that is a memory that Blue can't shake. And, he wants to commemorate his birthday to celebrate his grandfather, so he can bring at least some happiness back into his life, because he loved his Pop. And for his Pop to have a stroke on his birthday and then later on pass, that's something that a child is never going to forget. And, we see that Ralph Angel explained that to her. That's why we're doing the bonfire, because, and of course he, Blue invited her, but she ain't coming up in there because they will roast the fuck out of her ass if she shows up. And she knows that. So, but it was great to see that Ralph Angel and Darla at least coming to terms. And we actually see towards the end of the episode, he finally signs off for Darla to be the chaperone with Blue on the field trip. So it's really showing that Ralph is being mature, and he's going to look at the bigger picture, that at the end of the day, it's about Blue. Next, I am going to talk about Charlie and everything that's been attached to Charlie. Now, we see early on in the episode, Aunt Vi lets Charlie know that she needs her to pick up Prosper and take him, to his appointment, because he's supposed to be having back surgery. And, at first, Charlie was like, well, I got stuff to do, and why don't you ask Nova? She says, well, Nova is doing shopping for the commencement celebration. And if you two were talking, y'all would know that. But, take care of Prosper. Love you. Bye-bye. Mwah, mwah. And so, therefore, Charlie is left to deal with Prosper. And when she gets to Prosper's house, we see that Prosper is kind of in disarray. He can't find his, his insurance papers and all of that. And of course, at first Charlie was kind of rushing him or whatever, but he was like, Charlie, give me a second. And she does. Because she has the utmost high respect for Prosper, because this was her father's best friend, and he also worked with her father on the mill, and also was their farm manager, helping them to, rebuild the farm. And she looks around his house, and she noticed that he has a trombone, and that's how him and Ernest met. He used to play, he used to play with the fellas, and Ernest used to jam listening to him, and that's where they connected. And he pretty much says that I haven't played in a long time, and that I miss him. And of course Charlie says she misses him as well. And also we also come to find out later, when she realizes that he doesn't know where the papers are, she decides, okay, we're going to cancel your appointment, and we'll come back. I'll come back tomorrow and help you find it, and we'll take care of things from there, which she does. But Prosper forgot his coat, so she goes back to get his coat, and she looks on the table. She sees a picture of her father and Prosper when they were young, farming the land. And next thing she sees is an eviction notice, and that he has 30 days to vacate the premises because his lease is up. And whose name is on the damn document other than that motherfucker Sam Landry? So when they get to the medical center, she brings, she asks, so who's going to look after you after your surgery? What about your daughter? Does she know about this? And he's like, well, my daughter's been busy, so I haven't worried her with anything, so she doesn't know, but I'll reach out to her. And then she's like, well, does she know about you? Does she know about the fact that you're about to be evicted from your house? And of course he's like, that's my business. And she was like, look, it was right there on the table when I went to get your coat. I thought you owned the land. And he says that, no, I've been leasing my land for decades. And now the Landrys are putting me off it. So now it's hitting even more close to home that here it is, she has this backhand deal with the Landrys and the Boudreaux, where she got her 1%. But then she's saying that the actual farmers who she's been shaking hands, and she got them this fixed 5-year rate, which is groundbreaking. A lot of them are losing their farms because, unlike the Bordelons own their farm, whereas some of the other black farmers are leasing their farm. And we already know that damn Sam Landry, he got his hand in every business in town. So if you need to lease land, who you gonna lease from? but the Landrys. And now they're all being forced to leave their farms and literally walking away with nothing. Because we also saw early in this episode, Charlie was talking to our private investigator. And remember, the private investigator, the last time she met with her, told her that, that the Landrys had been in debt for over 2 years. And she's going to follow the money trail. Well, she came back with some more information about the family and saying that the Boudreaux and the Landrys have been going back and forth for years. So they're not really on equal ground. You pretty much, because, the Bordellos married into the Landry family. So the Landry family, I think, owns most of the parish, whereas the Bordellos own certain percentages of it. And Jacob and his brother both own, they both own, I think 10%. And then another 10% is also owned by, what's his name? Sam Landry's son, who's this pre-legal, who, is very well-to-do, Ivy League educated, got the perfect wife, and he got a side chick. So she's like, but then she's saying, I want some more dirt on Jacob, because she says that Jacob's record's clean, but she's like, I know there's some dirt on him. But we're kind of seeing a little bit that Jacob may not be the bad guy that we thought. He's just aligned with that family, so he's caught up in it. But we're starting to see that Jacob is, he's showing a different side to him. So, of course, later on, she wants to get to the bottom of this. But next thing you know, we see that Prosper goes back to see the doctor. And guess who the damn doctor is? Oh, Romero. And we definitely see that there is some serious chemistry between Romero and Charlie. And it's just cute to see that, they have this instant connection. And it's genuine. And I really hope that things really blossom between the two of them. Because, even though Jacob is showing this other side, getting down with Jacob can be very toxic, and it could really, backfire for the both of them. So that relationship with Jacob could be that's literally just some mess waiting to happen. And I would rather see her do her thing with Romero, because Romero's a doctor, he's got his own lane, and he's refreshing, and that's exactly what Charlie needs. Now I am going to talk about this whole situation with Davis West. Davis comes to take Micah out, to spend time with them, father and son time. He tries to talk to Charlie, and he's trying to make small talk, and we already know Charlie ain't for the bullshit. Like, Charlie's very sharp and she's very direct. She ain't got time for that ring around the rosy type of shit. So he's trying to the decor looks nice. Did you change it? She's like, the decor's been the same since the last time you was here. Oh, I see you're busy. Yeah, I'm always busy. Like, what else is new? And I'm thinking he was hinting on the fact that he wanted to tell her something, but that didn't happen. So therefore, finally Micah comes down and they're ready to go. And Micah also mentions, to his father about the commencement ceremony that they're having to honor Ernest. And we see that when the mention of Ernest, it does something to Davis, and later on he reveals it, because they go to the arcade and then they're playing games or whatever, having father-son time, and then all of a sudden Davis gets a call and he goes off. Then we see later on they're in the car, and Davis starts talking about Ernest, and he said that Ernest means more to me than that Ernest means more to me than anybody knows. How he would always come to all my games. Then he would even call me just to chat. And then there were times we would just sometimes get together and talk. I really admired and respect him. And he was more of a father to me than my own old man. So here it is, he had this very father-son relationship with Ernest. But yet, the way you've been treating Charlie, do you think Ernest would be proud of that? Just saying. So then, this damn fool decides to drop a bomb after talking about how great of a man and how great of a father figure Ernest was to him. He decides to drop the bomb on Micah that he has a sister. Her name is Tia, and she's 13 years old. So obviously, he had this child while he was married to Charlie. Then, the shit starts to unravel. One, that he knew about her the entire time. Second, Charlie knows nothing about it. So here it is, this perfect family, the whole damn time was tarnished from the beginning. And here it is, you dirty son of a bitch. You will literally sit here and talk about Ernest in such high regard, but yet you have not shown any respect to Ernest's legacy by the way you're treating his daughter and his granddaughter. You have literally ruined, you have literally just done nothing but bring havoc on your family. You selfish son of a bitch. And then that's the shit that gets me about Davis. It's like Davis kind of reminds me of like my former stepfather. It's like the more you try to give him a chance, he does some fuck shit and you hate him all over again. And that's exactly what I get with Davis. Once we all start getting comfortable with Davis, Davis does something else that's unthinkable. Like, you son of a bitch. Here it is, Charlie has been by your side, has literally been like your, like your go-to, who has helped propel your career to heights that you didn't even think was possible. And yet, this whole damn time, you've been screwing other women, and you had a child outside of your marriage, and she don't even know about it. Here she's thinking that Micah's the only child, and that y'all have something sacred, but yet, you had another damn child that you hid. So I'm like, you know what? I cannot wait for Charlie to find this out, and she roast the fuck out of Davis, because Davis is a piece of shit. He really is. Like, here it is, you gonna talk about Ernest, and then you gonna do something else. Micah has been through enough. Micah has been through the fact of you having a public, he had to deal with your public humiliation because you were having an affair with a prostitute, which she ended up getting raped. Then he has to deal with the fact that now his whole life has changed now that he's in St. Joe's. The boy has been brutalized by police. Now he's starting public school. So he's going through all of these changes for you to now just throw this on him after all this time? Yeah, you a sorry motherfucker, Remy. I'm sorry. You a sorry motherfucker, Davis. And I'm just over it, young, because that really pissed me off. I'm like, you a cold-hearted bastard. And then we see later on, Michael's looking at this video where he's talking about the love of his family, and we see that this son of a bitch is smiling and lying at the same time. Just a complete habitual liar. All about image, and there's nothing there. I mean, I have to say, it's probably out of everybody on this show, Davis is probably the weakest character. Because he's so damn shallow, and he's so messy, and he's always throwing something out that just throws everything off. So yeah, as I said, I was coming for his ass, and I didn't disappoint. Because this son of a bitch he's really bad news. And that it's just messed up that Charlie built a life with this man, and she now is realizing more and more she don't even know this bastard. And Micah the same damn thing. Like, what kind of man would do something like that? And the only reason why this daughter's coming up is because her mother died, and now, in order for her not to go into the system, you have to claim custody of her. So now, she's going to be around. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and see how she's going to be, in regards to him and Micah. So we just have to stay tuned. But later we see that Charlie goes to Jacob after she finds out that Prosper is being evicted from his land. So she's mad as hell, and she's saying that we had a deal, so what the hell is going on that these black farmers are being uprooted from their lands and shit? And Jacob explains to her, it's actually not us, it's actually EPA, you know, Environmental Protection Association. So he explains that the past 2 hurricanes, you know, there was a lot of mercury in the rain and it's in the soil, and that's why, since there's a high concentrate of mercury in the area, until the area has been you know, still the area has been covered, they're eradicating everybody, and it's a loss to us too. But we feel bad, so we're giving them a $5,000 compensation. And Charlie's like, $5,000 compensation does not replace losing your home. These people, like, and then she started naming some of the people. Then she said that Prosper is a close family friend. He has been in his home for decades. They've been there for years, and now now they have to uproot their lives, you know, because they're leasing to you. They now have to uproot their lives, and they're now being left with nothing. But he pretty much tells her that, look, you need to sit down and we need to discuss this. Because at first, Charlie wasn't going to sit down for nothing because she was pissed. Because here it is, she does care about the community, but yet she has made a deal which, at the end of the day, could work against them if she's not successful. You know, because she got that 1%, and she got the farmers believing that she's really running this on her own, but nobody knows about her backhand deal with the Landrys. So if the farmers find out about this, this could be an uproar. An uproar that could go either left or right. So she's realizing that, yes, I'm for the people and I'm for, you know, the community of the farmers, and I'm all about protecting my father's legacy. But then again, she also realizes she made a deal with the devil, and at the end of the day, this whole thing that she's trying to do could go straight to hell. So Jacob tells her to sit down, and he says that you're a part of this now, because she is. You know, you're a part of this situation, so now you're going to have to work and see how you're going to maneuver this, and how you're going to work this out, you know, as far as the black farmers, because they're all looking to you. So that's going to be interesting on how that's going to play out. Oh yeah, and I forgot, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but you know, when Blue was talking with Nova and Ralph Angel, he did, you know, mention that he's happy that his mom is back in his life. So now Nova is the only one that knows that Darla is back. So that's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play next week. Next, I'm going to talk about Nova. You know, Nova, we first see Nova, she's having writer's block, and you know, she's coming up with these book ideas because we saw in the last episode, Micah gave her a golden egg. He said that, look, you got this book deal. Why don't you maybe do a book on the black farmers and their struggle? You know, about them getting liberated, you know. And I was like, he done gave her a golden egg. So now she's trying to work out these ideas, but she doesn't know what to write. She's got ideas and proposals on the board, but nothing's coming out. So then we see that she's, you know, shopping for the commencement, for the commemoration of Ernest, and she's pretty much at the farm to drop some stuff off, and she runs into Remy. Now I'm gonna be real with you right now. I am so not here for this connection, even though they have a lot in common. It's gonna be some drama, it's some mess if they get together, because we definitely see that connection they had last season. It's starting to grow, and it's becoming more and more evident that they are really feeling each other. And I'm like, both of you motherfuckers are about to bring some serious problems if y'all cross this line. Because first of all, Remy, weren't you just trying to suck on Charlie's neck not too long ago? And now you trying to get all sweet on her sister because you lonely and you in your feelings? And then Nova, didn't you you know, have a good thing going with Mr. Robert Dubois? And I was rooting for him, but because he wanted you to be on a higher level and because you want to stay where you're at, you chose to send him off when that man came out of his way to come to you because he was in love with her. But because she didn't want to live up to the standards that he wanted, that's what caused them to break up. But at the end of the day, I felt they could have worked it out because they looked good together. I mean, they were black gold. I mean, melanin on fleek. I was here for it. But then I'm seeing this whole connection between her and Remy, and I'm like, this is going to be some shit. Because first of all, y'all know how I felt about Remy and his simple ass. Now granted, Remy is very intelligent. He is very knowledgeable about about agriculture. He's very knowledgeable about the farm business. He is a gem, and I see why him and Ernest were friends. But bruh, another thing, just like I did with Davis, do you think Ernest would be proud of your sorry ass Remy after you was courting with his daughter, Charlie? Now you trying to get at her sister, and you think that this shit's gonna go well? Because if this shit gets out in the open, you are really asking, for an explosion. Because that's exactly what's gonna go down. People are not gonna rock with this, especially Charlie. Because Charlie gonna be like, you my sister, and here it is, you going after my sloppy seconds? Not cute. But he's there, with some of his students, talking about, farming and agriculture. And she goes to meet the students and all of that, and we see that there's a connection. But then we also see that she goes into the shed and she finds these fishing rods, and that was a connection that her and her daddy used to have. They used to go fishing together. And she said the last time she's talking about this with Remy. She said the last time we went, I was like 10 years old, and on the way he stopped at this gas station so we can get some bait. All of a sudden I see my father come back and he had a busted lip. And I knew what happened because I saw 3 white guys that were kind of smuckering, on the side when he was coming to the car. But she said that I knew exactly what happened. We never talked about it, but I saw the pain and the anger in my father's face because he wanted to kill them. And here it is, we went fishing and we didn't say one word to each other. And we ain't go fishing ever since that day. So I'm like, see, that is the root as what made her an activist. Because she's been seeing injustice from an early age. And I thought that was powerful. That she did have a connection with her dad. And that was something that they did. Ralph Angel was little. And Charlie didn't want to get dirty. So that was her thing that she did with her daddy. Because she's earthy. She's of the earth. Mother Earth, honey. So that's what I love about Nova. But Nova, you cross this line with Remy, yeah, you deserve all the backlash you get, bitch. Because boo-boo, there's a line you don't cross, and you don't mess with your sister's man. Even though Remy and Charlie never actually had sex, but they were a couple, and everybody knew that they were together. So what makes you think that shit's gonna go well now that you're getting sweet on Remy and Remy getting sweet on you? How do you think the whole family gonna see that shit? So we definitely saw that going on, and I really loved her father's memory because we actually see that was like somewhat of the root as to why she's an activist and a journalist, and why she's pretty much like she lives in the essence of Ida B. Wells. So next I'm going to talk about Hollywood and Vi. Now, Aunt Vi is, at the church making her pies, and then that stinking heifer, Sister Effie, comes up in there and says that, well, this group has been in the church for years, even longer than me, and they're churchgoers, and they need the kitchen, so you need to be out of here within the next hour or so. And she's like, I'm supposed to be here for a couple of hours, and on the calendar, I actually had the kitchen for Wednesday, and we've already discussed this. And she's like, well, yeah, but I guess it was a mistake. But, I'm not going to turn these people who are church members away from using the kitchen, Vi. I mean, do do what you gotta do, but yeah, you gotta be out of here. And then like Vi was like, oh, it's funny because like it seemed to me that you have no problem rejecting my money. I know them checks been clearing, so what's really good? And she's like, yes, and the Lord thanks you for that. And like, if anything, after she had walked out, wearing her Sunday wig on Wednesday, because that damn Miss Effie's a mean bitch, and she doing it in the name of God, and that's what really makes me sick, because you made a deal with this woman, and she's been donating, to your organization, and yet you gonna blow her off. That's why I'm like, Vi, you should have had a contract drawn, because if she would have came in there with that fuck shit, you could have sued her ass, because that was wrong. And it just goes to show that it's all about this and all about prestige when it comes to some of these churches. Not all, but some. And definitely this church, and I see why Vi left the damn church. You got bitches like her up in there, why go to church? And she is just as mean and just as conniving as she want to be. Oh, you dropped the keys onto her when she said she was going to donate money, and you've been cashing them checks. But now you want to push her out the kitchen from doing her business because she's not a member of the church. But she probably giving more to the church than some of the members. Fuck out of here, bitch. So, here it is. Hollywood is noticing that Vi is trying to take all of this on herself as far as her business. Because here it is. She got this delivery service that she's trying to drop all her pies off to. And some of the pies got ruined, whereas after going through that, Hollywood was like, look, we should actually, get an actual truck where, it's Vi's Pies, and, therefore, if we have our own delivery truck, we can get your deliveries to everyone safe and sound, and there'll be less, there won't be so much damaged product. You'll be able to make more money off of your deliveries. But Vi is on her shit, and she's like, no, I started this business myself. I'm gonna do it by myself, and I don't want to owe nobody anything. And Hollywood was like, oh. I'm like, girl, do you not realize that this man is your fiance, and this man is a millionaire now? And yet you're still trying to tell him not to spend his money when really he's investing in your longevity, and as well as increasing your mobility to move your business. And he had to get her together, because first she's trying to say that I don't want to owe nobody nothing because this was Jimmy Dale's house, and every day he reminded me that it was his house and he was the king and he owned everything. He always did that to me. And Hollywood was like, me and Jimmy Dale are night and day, so don't go there, woman. But he lets her know that, look, I see that you are working yourself thin. And all I'm saying is that by having a delivery truck, you can move your product a lot better without having any ruined pies, and you be able to, move your units, and you be able to keep up with everything. And he was saying that, look, I watched Ernest work himself into the ground. I don't want to see you do the same thing. I'm like, that man love you, Vi. And we see later on, she finally does, after the bonfire, she finally does decide that, yeah, she is getting tired and a lot's been on her, so she decided to go with the delivery truck. That, yeah, let's get it. And if anything, what you definitely need is to create your own space where you can work, and you ain't got to worry about that trifling bitch Miss Effie no more. So I thought that was good. So then at the bonfire, we actually see that, Vi is hosting it, but so is Blue. And Blue, he wanted to do it because he wanted to remember his pop and that he's never going to forget him. And he said that he just wanted to have a happy memory of his grandfather on his birthday. And it's just like, man, I am loving Blue more and more. I'm really loving how his character is progressing. So then we see all of them put their messages in. We see that Ralph Angel's message, I think, was that I will raise him in your name, meaning he's gonna be Blue's father, and that him not being his biological son don't change a damn thing. That's my boy. So I'm like, that hit the heart there. And then, you know, Vise was like, thank you for always protecting me. Because remember, he's the one that got Jimmy Dill out of her life when Jimmy Dill started to beat on her. You know, Ernest took him fishing, and his ass got the hell up out of there afterwards. So that was real. And then we see Charlie puts hers in there, and Charlie says, I'll fix it. The very same message she said when she was out in the fields in the very first episode of season 1, you know, after Ernest had passed, and she says, don't worry, I'll fix it. So she already knows, because you know, if anything, Prosper even said that, yeah, your father used to talk about you all the time, Charlie, how you were so headstrong, and he would brag about you to everybody. So he knew that Charlie has a certain quality that her brother and her sister doesn't have, that makes her stand out. And she's a fighter in her own way, and she's very top of the line in how the way she does business. I mean, she's a phenomenal businesswoman. So she's still in her mind trying to get justice for her father and all the black farmers. But yet the situation's messy. But the question is, how is it gonna play out, and how are things gonna unfold? So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social networks that I have listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of Queen Sugar on KRS TV. So until next time, everybody, take care.